Hey, I'm the cameraman. Here's the audience. There's Ben. Alright guys, thanks for being here today. Seems like today there are no untouchable records left in sports anymore. Seems like every year another long-standing historic sports record is broken. In 1998, Mark McGwire broke the single-season home run record that had stood for 40 years set by Roger Maris. And then just 3 years later, Barry Bonds came back and broke Mark McGwire's record. Just this football season, the most untouchable high school sports record of all times, the rushing records of Kenneth Hall set in 1953 were broke by another Texas player, Jonathan Gray. Kenneth Hall's records were considered some of the most immortal in sports of all time, and Jonathan Gray came through this year and shattered them all. And even Michael Jordan, the most iconic sports figure of all time in American history, is no longer unanimously considered the greatest player in NBA history, with the likes of Kobe Bryant and LeBron James in the conversation. But what if I told you that there was one player who stood above all the rest in any sport, and his records today are untouchable, and he individually dominated his sport more than any other player in any other sport in history? His name is Wayne Gretzky. Here's a handout for y'all to hand around. Today I would like to give tribute to the greatest individual player of the sport all time. So basketball fans knew about LeBron James when he was 18 years old, when ESPN was showing his high school basketball games on TV. But what if I told you that this guy, Wayne Gretzky, not only hockey fans, but an entire country knew everything about him, not when he was 18, but when he was 16. The entire country of Canada knew this 16-year-old, and they were eagerly awaiting his every move. And not in the 2000s, but in the 1970s, when he was 16 years old. According to HockeyDatabase.com, Wayne Gretzky opted to play in the NHL rather than his home country of Canada in 1979 when he was 18. And then over the course of his 20-year career, he established himself as the Great One, shattering every individual scoring record of all time and capturing the hearts of hockey fans worldwide. Gretzky.com records over 60 individual scoring records for Wayne Gretzky himself, but for the sake of time in this presentation, I'd like to focus on the most impressive ones. First off, we'll consider his all-time points. In Wayne Gretzky's career, he finished with 2,856 points, which is accounted for by 894 goals and 1,962 assists. The next man behind him in points has 1,962 points in total. So to repeat that, Wayne Gretzky recorded more assists in his career than any other man behind him has reported goals plus assists. Secondly, consider from the list of Wikipedia scoring leaders, in the almost 100-year history of the NHL, only 17 players have cracked the 600 goal mark in their career. Wayne Gretzky recorded nearly 900. Only 5 behind him have even cracked the 700 mark. And finally, consider this fact. In the NHL today, in the modern era, if a player were to record 50 goals in an 82-game season, he would probably be the leading scorer of the year and one of the greatest players of our generation. Wayne Gretzky did it 9 times in his career. One time he reached the 50-goal mark in 39 games. He went on to record 215 points in 80 games, which is nearly 3 points a game. And he reached this 200 mark 4 times in his career, which nobody else has even cracked the 200 mark. So with such individual dominance, it's a wonder why he receives such little credit with all the basketball, football, and baseball stars that we see coming through. I attribute this lack of credit to Wayne Gretzky to a lack of appreciation for his sport in America today. According to PuckTheMedia.com, basketball consistently outperforms hockey in cities where the market hosts a professional team for each sport. Of the 4 major sports, basketball, football, baseball, and hockey is by far the least followed by the American media today. Most people argue that this lack of appreciation for the sport comes from a lack of availability to play it in the country today, as compared to Canada, where most toddlers are learning how to skate by the time they're learning how to walk. And although he doesn't receive the credit for the dominance that he displayed in his sport, I believe that his records are the most individually dominant of any sport of all time, and I believe they'll remain untouched forever. I hope this presentation has sparked your interest in a sport that doesn't normally receive a lot of credit in American society today. Wayne Gretzky is the true definition of a sports legend, and I hope today I've challenged your perception of who the greatest individual athlete of all time is. So with that, I would like to thank y'all for your time and open the floor to questions. RJ?
What team did Wayne Gretzky play for?
So he said, what team did Wayne Gretzky play for the camera? So he was drafted by the Edmonton Oilers, which is actually where he was from, I believe, close to there in his hometown. And he was eventually traded to the Los Angeles Kings, which was considered one of the biggest sports trades of all time. And I believe he won 4 championships in Edmonton, never won one in Los Angeles. And then he moved to New York, where he finished out his career as the greatest of all time. Taylor?
Did he play for the Olympic team?
Yeah, he represented Canada in the Olympics, I believe, at 4 different Olympics. His career spanned 20 years, and I think that covered 4 Olympic teams for him.
Did they ever play the U.S. during that time and beat the U.S.?
They did. I know one of the greatest matchups ever was 1996 or 1998, and that was considered the United States' best hockey year ever. But Wayne Gretzky was playing for Canada that year, and I believe the United States ended up beating Canada.
That's true.
And what position did he play?
He played center.
Sorry.
Who would you say is the next best sports player
In any sport?
in any sport?
Oh gosh, I would say Michael Jordan. He's won 6 championships, and nobody else has come close to that, I don't think.
But even considering Michael Jordan, you'd say Wayne Gretzky's way better.
I think for his sport, I think so. All right, well, thank y'all for your time, and if I can, let me see one of these so I can show the camera. So this was the visual aid that I handed out to the audience. This handout. Thank you.